Have you ever looked at someone you love and realized you don't recognize them anymore? That's what happened to me. One day I had a wife I adored, a life I cherished. The next, it was like a stranger had taken her place. This is the story of how my world, my marriage to Sarah, crumbled overnight. We met in college, you know? Classic story. I was the shy guy in the back of the lecture hall, and she was the vibrant, brilliant woman who wasn't afraid to speak her mind. I was instantly captivated. For 12 years, she was my everything. My partner, my best friend, my rock. We built a life together, brick by brick, filled with laughter, inside jokes, and dreams for the future. We had a beautiful home, two amazing kids, and a bond I thought was unbreakable. I believed we had the kind of love story people write books about. Looking back, maybe I was the only one reading that book. The change was subtle at first. So subtle I almost missed it. It started with her phone. It was suddenly always glued to her hand, screen down on the table, buzzing with notifications she'd quickly dismiss. When I'd ask who it was, she'd wave it off. "Oh, just work," or "It's just the group chat." She started staying late at the office, citing new projects and tight deadlines. I didn't question it. Why would I? She was ambitious, dedicated. I was proud of her. I'd make dinner, get the kids to bed, and wait up for her, often falling asleep on the couch, just to get a glimpse of her before she quietly slipped into bed. Then came the new hobbies. Suddenly, she was interested in hiking, something she'd always groaned about. "Too many bugs," she used to say. Now she was gone for hours on Saturday mornings, exploring trails I'd never heard of. She started going to a new gym across town, even though we had a perfectly good one just 5 minutes away. "They have better classes," she'd explain, her eyes not quite meeting mine. Our shared evenings, once filled with movies and conversation, were replaced by her tapping away on her laptop, a slight, unreadable smile on her face. The intimacy, the connection that had been the bedrock of our relationship, began to evaporate. When I tried to hold her, she'd stiffen. When I tried to talk, her answers were short, clipped. The warmth was gone, replaced by a chilling distance. I felt like I was living with a ghost in the shape of my wife. The aha moment, the one that shattered my denial, wasn't a dramatic confrontation. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon. I came home early from work to surprise her, maybe take her to that little cafe she loved. I found a receipt on the kitchen counter, a hotel receipt, for a king suite with jacuzzi from the previous weekend. The same weekend she was supposedly on a women's wellness retreat with her colleagues. My heart didn't just sink, it plummeted. I stood there, the flimsy piece of paper shaking in my hand, and everything clicked into place. The late nights, the secret phone calls, the new hobbies. They weren't signs of a woman finding herself. They were signs of a woman finding someone else. The stranger living in my house finally had a name. A liar. That night I confronted her. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. My voice was barely a whisper when I placed the receipt on the dinner table between us. I asked her to explain it. For a moment, a flash of the old Sarah returned. The deer in the headlights look. The panic. Then it was gone, replaced by a cold, hard mask I'd never seen before. She didn't deny it. She couldn't. The story came tumbling out, a messy, ugly confession about a connection she'd found with a coworker. A connection she couldn't ignore. She spoke about her needs, her feelings, her search for excitement. Not once did she mention our vows, our family, or the 12 years I had devoted to her. She talked about him like he was a thrilling adventure, and I was just the boring, predictable life she was escaping. In that moment, watching this stranger justify shattering our family, I realized the woman I married was truly gone. She hadn't just been unfaithful. She had erased us. The days that followed were a blur of pain and logistics. Telling the kids was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. How do you explain to a child that the home they know is breaking apart because one of the people they trust most decided they wanted something else? There's no good way. You just hold them while they cry and promise them they are loved, even when your own heart is in a million pieces. The legal process was cold and impersonal. We were no longer Mark and Sarah, but petitioner and respondent, dividing assets that once represented our shared future. Every signature felt like another stab wound. She moved out, and the silence in the house was deafening. Every room held a memory, a ghost of the life we once had. I'd walk past her side of the closet, now empty, and the finality of it all would hit me like a wave. It's been a year now. Rebuilding has been a slow, painful process. There were days I didn't want to get out of bed, days the anger and betrayal felt like a physical weight. But I looked at my kids, at their hopeful, resilient faces, and I knew I couldn't give up. For them, and for myself. I started therapy, which was a game changer. It gave me a space to process the grief without judgment. I reconnected with old friends, the ones who had been there all along, waiting for me to reach out. I started focusing on my own health, my own happiness. I learned to cook new things. I took the kids on adventures, and slowly, very slowly, I started to build a new life. Our new life. I don't know if I'll ever fully understand why Sarah did what she did. Maybe she was unhappy for a long time and I was too blind to see it. Or maybe she was just a different person than the one I thought I knew. What I do know is that you cannot let someone else's choices define your worth. Her betrayal was about her, not about me. It was a reflection of her character, not a measure of my value as a husband or a person. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about accepting what happened and refusing to let it destroy you. It's about finding strength in the rubble and building something new, something that is truly your own. If you're going through something similar, please know you are not alone. The pain feels all-consuming, but it will not last forever. Reach out, talk to someone, and focus on one day at a time. Your story isn't over. This is just a very difficult chapter. Thank you so much for listening to mine. If this resonated with you, I'd be grateful if you'd like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means more than you know. Be kind to yourselves,